I lost my mum 11 years ago, so this is a 60th without her, and we're going to talk about her and share all the fun memories and have laugh.
I want to say that there are way more than 23.
Yeah, there is.
We could have written a list of 101 things.
Oh, yeah.
The first one, when you go through loss, you were so damn tired.
It's a given in grief.
Yes.
You might not expect that. It does get better, but more often than not, slower than you think.
Which leads us to our final point, our 23rd reason that we wish we had known about grief and loss is that...
Hey everyone, welcome back to another episode of Good Grief. Today we're chatting through 23 things we wish we'd known about loss. And if you're a first-time listener, welcome. I'm Kaylee and I'm joined by my husband Ryan.
It's going to be a pretty big episode.
Yeah.
Not in terms of length, I don't think, but in terms of the depth. But first of all, I want to say for those listening who may have been listening along for any period of time with us at Good Grief, I've got a question and a request to ask.
Ooh.
If you would mind maybe pausing the episode and just giving us a review or a 5-star rating wherever you're listening from. That would not only mean a lot to us and allow us to know that we're on the right track.
Yeah, that'd be awesome.
You're enjoying this or you found value in it. But 2, it also helps spread the reach of this podcast to other people who are finding themselves in grief for the first time.
Yeah, 100%.
Maybe tomorrow, maybe this
Yeah.
week. So if you could give us a 5-star rating, that would be amazing. And if you leave a review, we read all of them. So we really appreciate it. But apart from that, let's jump into the episode.
Yeah. Well, first, just need to mention, it's a birthday month.
It is a birthday month.
It's a good month, isn't it?
Yeah.
Why is that?
It's my birthday month. That's why. But it's also your mum's birthday month.
Yeah. It's my mum's big 60th, guys.
And it was pretty special. Last weekend, we went out for some coffee and cake and your auntie and uncle were down. And
My mum's sister.
We took them to a French patisserie and they'd run out of all of the good stuff and the coffee machine was off.
And they were closing.
And it was raining.
And we thought,
we're like, this
is
a failure.
so bad.
So we waddled a few doors down and we stumbled across this like awesome private
beautiful courtyard kind of cafe. They've done a good job. We'll be back.
And then all of a sudden you bumped into a bunch of people.
Oh
who
my
know your
gosh,
mum.
like some of my mum's closest and longest friends. So it was meant to be. It was so beautiful, such a beautiful moment. And I was like, oh my gosh, I've been meaning to message you guys. I want to organise a dinner to have for mum's 60th. So just so you know.
So what have you got organised?
Yeah, I lost my mum 11 years ago. So this is a 60th without her. We're just going to have a casual dinner at a beautiful family Italian restaurant. I'm going to bring along some 60 balloons and we're going to talk about her and share all the fun memories and have laughs. And they'll all get to meet our daughter, our 12-week-old.
Yeah.
Yep. Whom I just spent 15 minutes rocking to sleep for the second time so that we could do this episode.
Here we are. So we won't.
We call her our silent invisible member, but she's not so silent sometimes.
Yes. She wants to be on the podcast more than anything.
Yeah. So let's get into the episode.
So it's your mum's birthday.
Yes.
It's my birthday.
Yes.
I will just have to mention the incredible, thoughtful birthday adventure. Yeah. Outdoor golf tournament.
Yes.
So that's going to be happening. So I just want to say thank you to you for coming up with that idea.
That's okay.
Super cool. You were asking me, what do you think it is? I'm like, I don't know. Go to Disneyland.
He mentioned all these things and I was like, nope. Try again. He's like, play golf. I'm like,
yes.
Oh, you're onto something. Your latest obsession.
And then also, can I just say before we move forward that, your mum not being here for her 60th, the fact that...
Or her 50th.
Yeah, that's right. But to put something together like that is really, really special. And the fact that her friends that we bumped into that I'd never met still think about her often and think about you and wonder...
And they talk to her like...
Totally.
Yeah.
And so for them to all want to come together and say, yes, let's get together and celebrate Claudette, I think it's a really special thing. And I think that's just a little side note that you could take away from this episode, that it's really powerful to celebrate those birthdays, and those milestones with the ones that we lost. It might be hard right now, but in time, you're able to do that. So
Yeah. I feel like it's such a cool thing that I get to celebrate her, but also do something that she would have done.
Oh, she would have loved it.
Of course she would have had a party. She was the party girl.
For sure.
I said to them, as you know, Mum would have had a party, so let's do something.
So good.
Yeah, it's going to be really beautiful.
All right, let's dive in.
23
things we wish we had known about loss. I want to say that there are way more than 23.
Yeah, there is.
We had to these aren't the most, I don't know, these aren't the most crazy things that we felt. Some of them we just witnessed in other people. We could have written a list of 101 things.
Oh yeah, we could have kept going, but these were just like the top of mind, the things that were most obvious that came to us when we were preparing for this.
I will say they're in no particular order, apart from the last three, the final three, for a very specific reason, and we'll finish hopefully on a higher note. So let's jump in.
Yeah.
The first one, I put this down, is when you go through loss, you are so damn tired.
I mean, that's a given.
Well,
Just so you know.
I didn't know that. It's not, it's a given.
Sorry. It's a given in grief.
Yes.
You might not expect that.
No,
Yes.
I didn't expect that. Just feeling tired, generally full of energy. But, man, needing to sleep, wanting to stay in bed, not making it all the way through, the night or whatever event was on, far out. Tiring.
Yeah, just the emotions and the tears and everything. Yeah. And the next one, your friends and family change.
Yeah.
People we don't stay the same.
And you kind of work out who is there for you in that time, who wants to be there for you, even if they don't know how to. Some people just don't know how to and they avoid it.
And they just disappear.
And they disappear. Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's just an unfortunate part of our world not understanding how to help someone or be with someone through grief.
And so this is what we're trying to do at Good Grief, is make grief not so, is it nonchalant?
Or taboo.
Yeah. Guys, everyone's going to experience this. Let's talk about it. Let's be real. Let's be normal.
Everyone's going to experience it, but I never expected to experience it. And so soon.
Sure.
The next one is your body feels numb. I didn't feel this one. Did you feel this?
No.
I just remember my mum particularly.
Yes.
Just continually saying, I just feel numb from head to toe. And fair too. It was her husband, my dad.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've heard other people say it, but I didn't experience that one. Material stuff doesn't matter.
This was big for me. I just didn't give a damn about anything. I was like, you can have my money, you can have my stuff. I don't care. I've lost the person that I love.
Yeah, I think I've said this in another episode a year or two after. I was just like, what does anything matter anymore? Why do we do this? Why do we do that? Why do I care about that? Stuff just doesn't matter anymore.
It puts things in perspective is probably another way of saying that.
Yeah.
The next one kind of relates to the one a couple before, is that not many people just understand. And I sort of went on this search to find other guys who had lost dads. So just that similar circumstance, because I knew nothing needed to be said. They would just get it wherever I was at. If I was angry, if I was upset, if I was happy, if I was, whatever.
Yeah, totally. I mean, even those closest to you who know you so well.
That you would think might understand, don't.
Grief is just something you have to go through to truly understand. Yeah. You become a different person after loss. You're no longer your old self. As much as you want to get back to that old person, you'll think you might get back to that old person, you just won't.
And I think it's also interesting to say that you're not your same self through many different seasons in life.
Yeah, isn't it every 7 years you change and go through things? Yeah.
Well, I think just as a single person, you're very different to somebody who's dating, to somebody who's then married, to then somebody who's a parent. They are all different forms of ourselves. Grief is just another form of that. And, we think about what's normal, but there's nothing normal in life as we go through these changes. we create new normals and we create a new version of ourselves as well.
Yeah, priorities change, emotions change, all those sorts of things. So, yeah.
This one here, I definitely felt my appetite just disappeared. Did you have that at all?
I think...
Or were you always just a hungry girl?
Hey, I'm not always a hungry girl, but...
Maybe it's just the last 12 months.
Yeah, having a baby has something to do with
Yeah.
that, for sure. I think there were definitely times, 100%. It's like when you break up with someone, you lose your appetite. It's just
Totally.
that yuck feeling where you just don't feel like eating.
You know that you should, but you don't.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
What about time? You lose track of time.
You 100% lose track of time. Time feels different. And
Sometimes it's long and slow. Sometimes it's short and fast.
yeah. And sometimes a minute means way more to you than what you used to. You're just
You
want to
value that.
Yeah, you want to be in that moment and take in every second.
Totally.
Now that things are different.
I was just texting. If you listened to our episode last week, highly recommend. We chatted with June Park, the author of
Legend.
As Long as You Need. And we were just texting today, and I said, apologies, I got the dates wrong on this, and my wife critiqued me on it because she's good with dates. He said, don't worry, I lose chunks of time all the time. And I said, it's kind of like Marty in Back to the Future. He doesn't know what year it is, and he goes back and the doc has actually died, and he thinks he's still alive because he doesn't know what year it is. And it's like that sometimes with grief. So
Yeah.
you lose track of time.
Sometimes, you wake up and you're like, what day is it?
Mm-hmm.
You think everything's normal and then you realize you've lost them all over again.
Totally.
Yeah.
On top of that, you're also forgetful.
Oh, yeah. Just like mum life. There's similarities between these two, but yeah, forgetful, 100%. It's like the time thing and the emotions, they all just mush your brain and you just lose ability.
Yes. Yeah. Especially when you need to be doing stuff, which makes it doubly as hard.
Yeah. And on top of that, your body experiences pain.
Totally. Yeah. We talked about numbness, which is like the absence of pain, I guess. But yeah.
Just like stress,
physical pain,
grief can
it shows up
work
in your body.
its way in your body.
Oh my
for
gosh.
sure.
Even just talking about it right now, I just feel my neck and my back tensing up. And it comes out in different ways. And a good question to ask is, if you ask somebody else, like, where are you feeling that grief in your body? It's a great question. Or to reflect inwardly. Where are you feeling that for yourself? We experience body pains, but also sleep. Sleep suffers big time.
Yep. That pain could affect your sleep, but also just your emotions. Your brain is like thinking through constantly.
You've been crying endlessly.
You're dehydrated.
Oh, there's so much.
Yeah.
Hey, that's one of our points.
Oh.
Yeah. We can skip there.
Fancy that.
Yeah, your body is dehydrated from crying.
Yeah.
Story. I had a friend who he ended up in a mental institution, long story short, padded walls and all sorts.
Wow.
Eventually they tested his body and they found that he'd lost something like a quarter or more of his blood in his body, but he had not been bleeding. So figure that out. All he'd been doing is crying. Turns out that it wasn't...
From losing someone?
It wasn't the death of somebody, but it was the separation of a woman that he was with.
Wow.
And it caused him so much heartache and tears that he lost blood through that. But no blood was shed. It's wild. Turns out he ended up being my Christian studies teacher in high school.
Wow.
So,
shows how powerful water is in our body. Hey, it makes up blood, it makes up muscle, everything, like all things.
and shout out to Mr. Young. Absolute legend. All right, let's keep going.
Yeah. Workplaces don't support grievers that well, unfortunately.
Yeah, 2 to 3, sometimes 4 days bereavement. That's something that needs to change. That's something we're totally advocating for.
Yeah. Don't get me wrong. There probably are some that do, but for the majority,
the standard.
Yeah.
This was one that I experienced a lot. was just expecting my dad to come home. So
Oh,
just
yeah. We did too.
usual things like coming up the stairs, hearing the door open and close. And
Yeah.
I don't know how long that lasted. So I don't
Yeah,
know
me
when
either.
when it ended.
I think no more than a year for me. I just thought, Mum sometimes would do weekends away with the girls or go to a conference or something like that. And so I often just thought, oh, she's away like that. But it gets real.
Totally. The next one here, you actually mentioned this morning as we were chatting that it sneaks up on you.
Yeah, 100%.
Even on a good day.
Even on a good day, even on a good week, month. You could have been good for a year and then all of a sudden just something triggers or you just have a moment and it just hits you.
It unravels.
Yeah.
And there's nothing wrong with that, by the way, as
No,
well. So
absolutely
probably some of
not.
our next points will talk to that.
Yeah.
Especially this next one, that it's better to cry and to
just
release it.
Feel the release.
Yeah.
You'll feel so much better from just letting it out.
And letting it out wherever you are too. There's very few places. I'm not even going to stop to think of like where it might be unacceptable to cry, but it's fine. I've ugly cried all over the place.
And like we said, you just don't give a crap anymore. So who cares what people think?
Yeah.
Let it out because you'll feel better and you'll never see them again probably.
Totally.
And
what do you got there?
I got that other people's loss will affect you. So now that you've felt loss, you're just more aware of other people's loss as well.
And that can bring you to tears in different ways. Maybe at first you might feel like you're dealing with your own stuff, but over time, man, I've noticed it so much. Like reading these books that we've got here, hearing people's stories, I'm brought to tears and weeping more often than I ever had been before.
Yeah.
Because I just get it. You just get it once you've experienced it.
Even if it's fictional, like movies and stuff. I don't know if I was this much of a crier before Mum died, but man, I can try the drop of a hat now as soon as I feel that string pulled. I'm like, ah.
I'm always checking your eyes in movies to see if you're crying.
Like the last episode where I told you off and talking about my crying.
Yeah. It's all consuming. Loss and grief is all consuming. It fills every second of your day. It fills every thought, every movement, every task. And when people don't know what to say and they don't say anything because they don't want to upset you, it's like, I'm already thinking about them every second of my day anyway. You bringing them up isn't going to change what I've been thinking about because they're already on my mind. And so I think that tends to lean towards the note here that we had about crying, that like, it's okay, it's expected. And if you expect that it's okay for me to cry, bring them up. It's not going to change anything.
Yeah, totally. And it also makes you question everything. Now you're like we said earlier, what does that matter? What does this matter? Why did that happen? Why me? Why not me?
Yeah, totally. Your faith, it puts a strong focus on questioning that. Where is God in my grief?
Where are my friends?
Totally.
Why do my workplace not support me? Yeah.
Yeah, it's big. I wore this special hoodie today for this very next point.
Oh, did you?
Yep. It's that it's okay to feel anger and rage, guilt and shame. And if you're listening and you can't see my hoodie, there's a picture of a raging gorilla on it. It's just a bit of a reminder that it's okay to feel that way. It's normal.
Yeah.
Totally fine. Healthy emotions when processed, well. We're not talking about anger and going and beating somebody up. We're talking about maybe letting it out some other ways.
Yeah.
But totally fine and normal.
Yeah. We did skip one that there's no timeline for grief.
Oh, yeah, massive.
Yeah. That's
Actually, this
up
is probably
there.
good to put with in our final 3 here. Yeah, there is no timeline to grief. And I think the sooner we realize and accept that, the better off we are.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And the final 2, do you want to reveal?
Yep. It does get better, but more often than not, slower than you think.
Yeah.
But it does. it does get better.
It does. And not better in the sense that like it's better than it was before they died. That's not the case at all, but the situation changes. And I think a big lesson in grieving is that our grief doesn't shrink.
Yeah.
But our world expands. You know, our world really does change and grow. But it takes time.
Yeah. And also you get stronger, more resilient.
Yeah.
Yeah. Your heart gets bigger, more compassion, and that all contributes to being able to deal with your grief.
Totally. And then support others through it as well in time. Which leads us to our final point, our 23rd reason or thing that we wish we had known about grief and loss is that when you go through grief and loss, you turn around and wonder how you actually took care of and looked after people in their grief and loss. And specifically, you wonder just how you treated people before because
100%.
You had no understanding of it.
Yeah.
And there's no way to understand it
unless you go through it.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's huge.
So we saved this point until last so that as a listener, as us talking about this, we can self-reflect and just go, wow, I wonder the next person I'm going to come across who has lost someone dear to them, how can I treat them differently than maybe the way I did before? And it's a blessing in disguise that by going through loss, we can assist others, but it does take time.
Yeah. I just had this thought. It's kind of like this domino effect, you know. Someone experiences grief, then they know how to be there for someone who's experienced grief. And everyone needs someone when they're going through grief, but that person's a better supporter when they've been through grief themselves. So it's kind of like this snowball effect of like, as people go through grief, they get to support, and then more people go through grief and they get to support. And it's like something you get to pass on is that support.
And one of the most beautiful things about our Good Grief family is just seeing all of these incredible women supporting each other through their different grief and through different stages that come up as we grieve. And so that's why we saved that one till last.
Nazare agrees.
Yes, if you can hear her in the background. And so, yeah, we just thank you for spending the time with us today, and we appreciate every single one of you.
100%. And if you found this helpful or you know someone who this will really help, please share. That's the best thing you could do to, like we just said, help someone who's grieving, help support someone, and share this podcast so it can get out and help more people. We'd really appreciate that. Big love from us. Until next time. Ciao.
Bye for now.